a local law for a change of zone from C3 to R5, or potentially a RROD, for 6701 Buckley Road. The attorney for the project and the engineer for the project are here. Are the owners of the project here?
No, they're not. We did for the our architect.
Okay, perfect. You guys did present at the last public hearing, so I'm not going to ask you guys to present immediately right now. Are there people signed up to speak? Perfect. So how we do public hearings, how we do all public comments is you get 3 minutes. Please state your name and address for the record. If you have comments that will take longer than 3 minutes, if they're written down, we encourage you to give them to our town clerk. She will make sure to include the totality of your comments. That way, if you have more to say after the 3 minutes, I encourage you to stay for after the meeting. You can speak with myself or any of the town board members. Lisa Paul is the 2nd Ward Town Board member, so she represents the area where this public hearing has an impact. So with the 3 minutes, I also want to make sure to make one comment for the sake of the public. The town board is considering a change of zone. This is just a zone change. This is not approval of a project itself. The architect and the engineer do have drawings and renderings of what they would like to see on this property, but the town board is not going to be considering the project and approving the project today. Before they even get to that stage, they will need a zone change, and that's what this public hearing is in regards to. If the change of zone is granted, whether it be at this meeting or a future meeting, if the change of zone is granted, there will be subsequent meetings, whether it be in front of our planning board, likely our planning board, and the planning board will take the process of considering the use of the property, the site plan of the property. That's where the traffic studies will take place, consideration of parking spaces, the number of units, etc. If it gets to that stage, I'm going to encourage all of you, if you're here for this specifically, I'm going to encourage all of you to attend that meeting as well to make sure that your concerns or questions are voiced at that meeting, because that'll be more relevant to specifically the project itself. With that, we'll start the public comment period.
All right, first up, I have Ed Pete.
All right, thank you, sir. And like I said, just give your first and last name and your address for the record. And,
Ed G, 313 Melvin Drive.
all right.
I've lived in the neighborhood for 30 years next month. They tried to put in a hotel across the road back when we first moved in. We were able to shut that down because our neighborhood is nice. I mean, we love where we are. There's kids, the neighborhood is turning over, so you're getting more families in, getting more grandchildren in. The last thing we needed is people, more traffic, more people in the area. We don't need it. I mean, it's busy enough as it is, especially if you're trying to come out of our development off of Melvin or even Sherwood. People trying to turn left onto Patricia, and you're trying to turn left into Melvin. People don't pay attention to the road signs, come around onto the shoulder. We actually had a girl on a bicycle that hit probably 20 years ago, right there, because people don't pay attention. Now you're gonna add more traffic. I don't think it should be done.
I appreciate that, thank you. I want to just address one thing with it. Currently, the property is zoned commercial 3. If there is no change of zone, project can still move forward. Again, that will take place in front of our planning board, not here, but the project can still move forward in a commercial capacity. So it was formerly a hotel. Another hotel could go there under the current commercial zoning. Again, that would have to be proposed in front of the planning board. If we change the zone to residential, it would have to be a residential component, whether it be apartments or otherwise. For clarification purposes. Paula?
I couldn't hear such a stuff.
Okay. Everybody can hear me okay? I hope? Okay.
Yes.
Go ahead, Paul.
Hutch Hampton.
Good evening, sir.
Hello. My name's Hutch Chamberlain, we're at 203 Melvin Drive. I've been there for 23 years. Similar to Ed, it's all the same concerns about the traffic, and with neighborhood turning over, we have a lot of new young folks in the neighborhood. Our concern would be with that influx of traffic, with new people not paying attention. That's it.
Okay. I appreciate the comments. Next.
Clint Gale.
saw you at the last meeting. Good to see you again. Name and address, please.
My name is Cliff McDale, and I live at 6727 Buckley Road. I've been there for over 25 years and watched things change. Some different hotels, but what it's proposing now is gonna be a high density people, lots of cars, and concerned all the extra traffic that's already been mentioned. And trying to turn out my driveway or other hotels, even the driveway that's up to the apartments and back, isn't always easy, especially during rush hour. It kind of takes your life in your hands sometimes. Or coming across the bridge, to turn in my driveway, the sight line isn't very good. And, people come pretty fast even though it's a speed limit, but, traffic is a danger with all many cars. I don't know if they've done a traffic study yet or not, but, I think there's many more cars and density of the humans being there, or in addition to, proposal restaurant or chats in there. And a lot of my people go further up back to existing apartments and a lot of cars, not much place to put it. And the highway can make the turns and be safe. So, lots of changes, but more traffic every day. That's really a major concern, along with who the neighbors might turn out to be in their small apartments. Not that anybody's better or worse than anybody else, but who knows? So, thank you.
I appreciate your comments, thank you.
Next up is Jim Castle.
Mr. Castle, good to see you.
Thank you, and good to see you as well. My name is James Castle, 301 Melvin Drive, and I absolutely concur with everything that everyone's already said, so no sense of rehashing that. But I did want to thank you all for your service to this beautiful community. You know, service is always recognized. There are not many attaboys in what you guys are doing, right? So I just want to thank you for that. And, you know, thank you also for carrying out the will of your constituents. That's kind of what this meeting is all about. Tonight you're hearing that. Making decisions on our behalf is what you guys were elected to do. And what we're really concerned about, kind of in a nutshell, bringing this together is, we want to protect our community. We want to protect our property values. We want to protect our security. We want to keep our town beautiful and safe. We want to acknowledge our sense of security. That's basically the theme that we're doing here tonight. So as you decide in moving forward with this or not, I hope that you can make your considerations framed in all those things that, the parameters that I just outlaid, that all the comments fit into. So it's my advisory to you, as one of your constituents, is not to move this project forward. Thank you.
I'm gonna ask one question, I'll pose it to you, but it's open to the others. In consideration of it, in some of the comments that I did say, the property currently is zoned commercial. If we do not change the zone, another hotel or commercial use could take place on the property. So I guess my question for, and I think it would be helpful to the board, would be, are you in favor of keeping the property for commercial use, potentially a hotel or otherwise? Or would you be in favor of a residential use on the property, but maybe a residential use that's different than whatever this is? And if that's the case, then those comments, obviously, and that consideration takes place well during the planning board meeting and site plan conversation. So that is, just for clarity's sake, are we against, the people that spoke, and yourself, sir, are we against this specific project, or are we against changing the zoning of the property because we prefer keeping it commercial and we would like to see a commercial use there, such as potentially a strip mall or a hotel, something of that sort? So that is the major consideration that I want you guys to think about, and I think the town board needs to consider when we're deciding to change something.
Yeah, those are great questions. They may still make 3 minutes.
You can, I will extend, for the sake
I think you
of
just
what
took
I
out some of
posed.
that.
Yeah, for the sake of what I posed, feel free to comment.
No, that's okay. We gotta keep it a little bit light too, but you know what? We're certainly not for this particular project, period.
Right.
You know, there's a lot of creative people out there. I wouldn't want to kind of frame us into a certain thing. I'd like to see some creativity and bring some good things to this town, which we can't even foresee yet. You know, there's a lot of developers that I'm sure have been buying that property. I mean, look at what happened to Ramada Inn. You know, they tore that down and built a beautiful, you know, motel right there. That was an asset, you know, to our community. And it's gonna be interesting, the same with, the coffee shop that just went in, you know, right on 7 North Street there, Starbucks. You know, and I'm looking forward to seeing what's gonna go into where the restaurant, the Colorado Mining Company and so forth, had changed hands there a bunch of times. Hopefully something creative will go in there too, it'll be a real asset to our community. We do not see this project as an asset to our community. We see we see safety concerns, traffic concerns, so on and so forth. So I look forward to seeing some creative ideas, and I'm not that creative yet, but we'll know what we see kind of thing, right?
I appreciate that. Also, thank you for your service.
It was an honor, it wasn't about me, it was about this. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Next up, I have Linda Castle.
Ms. Castle, just for the record, I'm gonna ask you to repeat your name, and obviously I know it's the same thing, but
Yeah,
for the
Linda
record.
Cancel, 301 Mountain Drive. And I do reiterate what everybody else has previously said about the traffic, safety concerns and all of that. I just wanna say that I am opposed to the zone change for this project, adding 1-bedroom efficiency apartments will have a negative effect on our community. I think better use for this parcel would be a hotel as it was in the past or some other type of business.
Thank you so much, I appreciate it.
Next up, I have Rick Policastro.
Hello, sir.
Hello, Rick Policastro. Let's see, I grew up on Libby Street off of 7 North over there. You know, I'm 67 years old. My parents bought down on off of Sherwood on Avery. I moved there, and my mom says, "Oh, there's a cute little cottage at the top of the street on Melvin." I moved there. So the joke in our family is I don't go anywhere, but what I do is I'm there and I'm an eye. And right next door to me is Kurt Luther, who's the oldest lady in New York State at 110 years old. And I've actively all these years like been in touch with her, helped her out, me and my wife. And it's interesting hearing her take on the safety side of it, being so close to Buckley, what we see, you know, on at the top of the street, sirens and everything. I'm also a professional photographer, so I'm a drone operator, and on my property I can put my drone up and I'm watching, and I know why they you know, boarded up all the windows, and there was different people in there and all that, and you can just see all the different things. The safety and that emotion part of it is 100% probably where I'm coming from. Everybody here is, you know, probably feeling in the same way one way or another. We're just wording it differently, but I think we all feel that way. How can you not really be okay with the hotel itself? I mean, the Holiday Inn, as a professional photographer, I did a lot of work for them. Inside there, it was well kept, well done, very organized and everything. And, you know, we lived with that. So something like that, hands down, I don't see how we could ever really not, because we're sort of already used to that. But this project is, I think, definitely in a different direction that all of us would really like to see. So definitely not. I hope you guys all consider all of that. I mean, 3 minutes is really not enough. I can talk about topic after topic after topic, like everybody. So I came on like an emotional side of it, and so, you know,
So-
that's how I feel.
2 quick things. What's the address number?
I'm sorry, 100 Melvin Drive. So when you go down Melvin, I'm the second house on the right.
Perfect. And then, if you have more, like I said, I'm gonna encourage you, you can give it to our clerk, or you can feel free to reach out to me in my office, or you can reach out
Yeah,
to someone.
I would definitely do it. I was disappointed that they weren't gonna present first, but like you said, it was already done, I guess, at a meeting.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
this is the second public
Right.
hearing. Yeah, so this is the second public hearing. This is the 3rd meeting total regarding this. We had the first
Right.
meeting where we scheduled the public hearing, which was last month. We extended that public hearing to today,
Gotcha,
hoping that we'd actually have some more engagement.
I appreciate how you just, what you were saying, how as far as the zoning goes and what this meeting represents.
Yeah.
So that's definitely how I feel, but I think I could just easily, I bet I could ask for a raise of hands in this room, and I bet you pretty much everybody would be agreeing.
Yeah, okay. I appreciate the comments, sir. Thank you.
Mary Lou Mitchell?
Is there a Mary Lou Mitchell? Okay, you're fine. That's fine. That's completely okay. Cheryl, you said?
Carol.
Carol? And again, we apologize if we mispronounce your name. We do apologize.
Carol Bushaver, and I've been getting mispronunciations all my life. I'm at 236 Russell Avenue, and basically I signed the sheet to reserve an opportunity to ask questions. I didn't realize this was a zoning versus a planning meeting. Has a planning meeting, has a date been set for that?
It wouldn't go in front of our planning board, unless, well, two things would have to take place. One, there'd have to be the approval of the zone change to a residential zone. And then after that, the applicant would then, they would have to submit a site plan to our planning board for review. So if, to play the scenario out hypothetically, if the town board were able, if the town board decided that we wanted to change the zone tonight, they probably wouldn't get in front of our planning board until September, Mark?
September, well, first, or the 15th.
So they probably wouldn't, the planning board would not begin the process of reviewing the project.
So it'll be the 15th, this first is Labor Day.
Okay, so mid-September would be when the project would go in front of our planning board. And that's, like I said, that's it, tonight, we approved the change zone.
Is there any sense of when the whole thing would like that? When the community would like to have the whole process concluded?
Well, I guess you could answer that. When would you, you're part of the community, when would you like the process? I think, from hearing what I've heard tonight, and I think from the town board, I'm gonna make a general statement here. I think there's an overall consensus that we would like to see this property transition from the state that it currently is. I think the gentleman with the drone could give you some good insight on what's happened at that property, the problems that the property has attracted, that does have an impact on the surrounding neighborhoods. So I think there is a general consensus that we would like to see this property transition from where it is currently. Transition into, like I said, a new hotel or some other component is, I think, what this is about tonight and what we're having a conversation. I think there's something I'd like to pose, and you guys can kind of just nod your head one way or the other if you want to, but one of the things I know this town board was very supportive of was seeing that property transition into a senior living facility, something that the property that is directly behind it, Buckley Landing, seeing kind of an extension of that use being there where the hotel is. I think that is something that's attainable. I don't know if that's something that maybe is more appetizing for the neighbors surrounding it or not, but it's something to maybe roll around. I do know this. The property in its current state poses the safety risk that I think a lot of you guys have talked about, and we need to do something to move past where it currently is. Whether or not it's this project or not is to be foreseen, and that's why we're having this conversation today. And whether or not allowing for a creative solution, if we're gonna find a more creative solution by zoning it, an RROD kind of does allow for multiple different uses, potentially residential, potentially some type of mixed use. It becomes a catch-all if we did do an RROD. And it doesn't necessarily mean that this specific project is what's going to occur, but it will allow more flexibility for something creative like you talked about. So, so hearing a lot of what you guys are saying, I just want you to be aware that I'm thinking along those lines. But we have a timeline. I don't know if the town board does. I know the applicant would like to get started on this yesterday if they could. So I know that they very much have a timeline. By the way, go ahead. I'm gonna let go ahead.
Yeah, can I just address that briefly?
on, timeline, we don't have one because there's procedure that has to unfold. But we hear some comments, one of which was from the gentleman with the drone, I'm trying, right here. So, we did present, at the last meeting, and I realized a lot of you weren't here because I wasn't, weren't here. But generally speaking, the procedure we're at today is to change the zone from a commercial to a residential. And that's the big picture, with the preferred zone change to what's called overlay district, which would allow some creativity. We get into some law, but allows some ability to adapt to the current conditions. And that's what I really want to highlight is the current conditions. It's boarded up because it was an attractive nuisance before my client purchased it. So our hope is that the community agrees that since my client purchased it, they've kind of diminished that attractive nuisance and created a better condition there. And that's what the hope is to make a residential atmosphere there as opposed to a commercial hotel motel atmosphere. So I just wanted to say that because most of you weren't here when Mr. Stromo presented and he mentioned the unit count, where the commercial space is contemplated. The specifics of the project, like Mr. Barrow said, we're not really there at this public hearing as to those specifics and the use, but it's the bigger picture of the zone change from a commercial strictly use to a residential permitted use, which sounds like most of you guys are, residents, right?
Paula, do we have any other people signed up to speak? We do, okay. Let's let you go. I want to run through the rest of the public comments, and then I will have a quick thing I would like to say, and I would like to give you guys just a quick opportunity at that point. But I want to run through the public comments first. Okay?
I just wanted to thank you for the opportunity.
Okay, all right. Thank you. All right, who do we have next?
Mike Burden.
Mr. Berdine?
As you know, my name is Mike Berdine. I live at 610 Roxford Road South, which is in Lakeport. So I do not live in the adjoining neighborhood. But I'm coming forward basically to encourage the town not to change the zone at this time, either to table it or to reject it. And I do that, and I say that because, and I should say full transparency, I do sit on the town planning board and zoning board. I'm also on the steering committee for the comprehensive plan. And part of our objective is to present to the town later this year potential zone changes and what we're looking for Buckley Road, which may or may not be resi, which may or may not be commercial. But since you tasked us to do this, I encourage you to give us a chance to present this to you. And by making a wholesale change at this time, I don't think would benefit until you hear what we have to say. Because we do have some creative ideas that may come forward. Some of you may or may not like. But I think we're maybe jumping the gun at this point. Because Buckley Road is one of the areas that we are strongly looking at. And I think it's a good idea to table it or to, at this point, reject it. But it doesn't mean it can't be changed down the road. And that's my thought of this.
We're the same, we all know you, but if you could give your address for the.
Yeah.
Oh, you did? Okay, I apologize. All right, who do we have next?
Thank you.
Hello, how are you?
Not doing too bad. Rob Blakely, I live at 220 Ivy Drive. I join with my other neighbors in Melvin, Sherwood areas, Patricia Drive and that. So I couldn't get here on time because you can't get to Liverpool from Syracuse. Anywho, but anyways, I stand 100% with not changing the zoning, keeping the zoning the way it is. I would not mind seeing some sort of commercial motel or a strip mall or anything that was spoken since I've arrived. As far as changing into what I've been seeing and believing is going to be, I'm not for that at all.
Okay, thank you for your comments.
Nobody else signed up on this sheet, but are there others that signed up on the other sheet that meant to be?
Is there any, yeah,
I should have done the other sheet. Oh.
just make a note of that, Paula. Is there anybody wishing that was not signed up to speak?
Yes, if I would may.
Right away. You just need your You're gonna have to give your name, your address, and you get 3 minutes, okay?
Yeah, of course. My name is Ryan Yates Fiedler. Here, left.
There you go. Thank you.
Yes, of course. My name is Ryan Yates Fiedler. I live at 305 Olney. That's partially off the Sister Street to Patricia Drive. That leads off the actual senior complex road that they have chained off. I've been a senior CDPAP home health aide for about the same stint, for 3 clients in the area. One I take care of diligently 24/7. There's a park behind the street that I'm speaking of, and the way that the actual infrastructure and lay of the road, the way that it's laid out, has a kind of bottleneck that only goes a couple different ways. One going up Patricia Drive that leads down to a right and goes down the hill towards the park, and then they only have some roundabouts, and it's kind of a tight-knit situation. When I first started living here, there was obviously the riffraff, and there was no metal fencing. There was stuff being stolen. I could see people sitting out back. We had a report, people in our backyard from the actual park itself. The guy who I take care of is more familiar with the area and reported it and found that people were doing drugs behind that area, and it was pulled. So through the years I've seen it, transgress to where it is now. I've noticed that there's been a couple instances, I believe in the past year, when there's been almost 9 cop cars that fill the whole lot when an instance arrives. I also know that there was an instance where the road, where it connects off to the highway, there was a man who I assume was having a mental illness fit, was on the other side, and a couple police officers were trying to address him. I know I might have showed up a couple minutes late about the safety issue of just how the street is, just how tight it is there. But I think a lot of it has to do with your location to that setting. If it's residential, if you have kids, teenagers exploring that offset where the highway is, it can be detrimental to anyone. And I'm not saying the kids are the best and some kids are the worst, but every kid has his day, and someone will throw a TV or throw a bottle or throw something over, which is a community health concern on that throughway that goes underneath that bridge pass. Obviously, I know this is a client that you're dealing with, and obviously this is it's a strain through. I think one of the big things is that how interconnected the way the building seats to the back way that people were getting into that leads to the senior complex, that leads through the street onto Patricia, and it makes essentially a really tight-knit walking area where you can't walk on the main roads because of just the way that the actual infrastructure of the bridge going over, it's tight. And people have gotten into accidents just going over the bridge, not paying attention, clipping the curb, crossing over. I just want to say I hope for the best, and I hope maybe it's a community situation, maybe a center, maybe something along the lines of the YMCA get involved, and maybe just something infrastructure and gets back to the hotel situation. But I think it would have to be something that's considered, especially so. But thank you for your time.
Thank you.
No problem.
All right. Before, what is it?
Chris, did you want to speak?
Okay.
Hello, I'm Christine Lloyd, I live at 241 Patricia. I've lived in the neighborhood for 33 years, and my concern with this being made a residential property is I don't want to see it become a slum, much like what Orchard Estates over in Maddingale has become. It's nothing but drugs and crime. The police are there constantly. The letter carriers don't even want to deliver to that complex, and I'm afraid this could become the same thing. If it were rezoned, could it be rezoned with a restriction on there that it could only become senior apartments? We definitely have a need for more senior apartments.
I appreciate your comments. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else willing to speak or wishing to speak? Yeah, go ahead.
Hello, board members and everybody.
Speak carefully.
My name is Eric Wojcicki. I live at 49 Patricia Drive. been a resident here for 17 years, I think. And so my concern is this project, found out recently. In order to get, you have to have, well, in order to get the district zone for the kind of business we come in, if you want to do apartments. My opinion is to keep it, try to keep it as a hotel or maybe senior citizens apartment. If this property gets converted over to a single apartment, single living apartment complex, there's a potential for a higher crime area. Same thing that happens in the city, State Street and James Street, that big beautiful building. That building was bought by a company in Central Square, and gentleman can get his money back now. Because the other people that come in and they give these from prisons, drug addicts, and Catholic Churches puts them in there and other organizations, and they owe them hundreds of thousands of dollars for rent. Catholic Churches hasn't paid them. I'm not saying it's gonna happen here, but there's a potential for that. You have a single apartment dwellings. Who's gonna come over here and live here? Who's gonna pay for that? Who's gonna keep the maintenance up and all that? Even though we have cameras don't do anything, they just record. You have police officers chasing criminals in the hallways for drugs and breaking doors to get in and arrest people, and then the damage gets done, and then basically that same thing. That's my concern. And then also, there's more people coming like that. If that were the case, then neighborhood, you got kids living over here, out on the street, right, people walking their dogs, kids in the neighborhood. It's a potential for more pedophiles, drug addicts, and any other companies you can imagine.
Thank you so much for your comments. I'm just gonna ask a couple questions that you guys can answer. Just to give some clarity on a couple things and for the general public. How many apartments are being proposed?
So right now, again, these are preliminary designs, we
Yep.
obviously know we have to come, but, by the way, I'm Jim Nettle, I'm within Architects.
Yeah, if you don't, yeah, I was just
Yeah,
about to say, if you could show me.
Sure. Jim Nettle, partner in Architects. You may know some of our work, we have Lemoyne Manor just finished, which is one of our projects as well. Right now, we're looking at, there's 47 units per floor, and.
So 2 floors, so you're looking at 94 units.
94 units. There's a mixture, mostly 1 bedrooms. There are a handful of studios, and there's a couple 2 bedrooms.
So how many studios?
Right now, I think there's 14.
14 studios, how many 1 bedrooms?
The balance between 2 or 3 twos and that, so there's about 71 bedrooms.
71 bedrooms, 14 studios, and then 10 two-bedroom apartments.
So, yeah,
And you're looking at market rate?
we're all market rate, what we found that, in downtown and in the other areas around here right now, market rate apartments, people are mostly looking for 1 bedrooms. We purposely don't, we're not excluding anybody here, but we're not adding a bunch of 2 bedrooms. Frankly, we're not looking for families necessarily, though there may be some. And studios rent very well in the area because the young professionals get out of school, they're not making a ton of money their first 5 years out of school, and a 1-bedroom apartment in a nice area that's easily accessible to highways in downtown makes a lot of sense.
So we're looking at 94 apartments, 71 bedroom, 14 studio, 10 2-bedroom. You're looking at market rate apartments.
Correct.
The convention center on this property, you are looking to convert it into a mix between the office for the apartments and
There'd be some
the rest of the space. I think it's roughly 5,500 square
Right, there'd
feet,
be
which
some
would be a
amenities.
restaurant.
There could be a restaurant, there's no plans at the moment for that, but it could be some amenity space. Most apartment facilities are looking for some kind of workout facility, some kind of get-together room.
Is the consideration for it to be public space or space that will be used by just the residents?
Primarily by the residents, yeah. There's not a fitness club open to the public necessarily.
Okay. Onondaga
I also
County.
wanted to just add that, Greg, we're reducing the actual parking count on this site by,
That was my next question.
yeah.
So I think Onondaga County Planning commented when this was submitted to them that there were 250 parking spaces on this for a 94 unit apartment building, reducing the number of parking spaces rather significantly. I think, Mark, 180
Correct.
So you guys would have to reduce the number of parking spaces by 70. Their suggestion was improved green space, landscaping,
If I get, you want to go through a little bit of site amendment, some of the changes.
well, I prefer to do it this way for the time being, if you don't mind. So, you do plan on reducing the number of parking spaces as well?
Right.
Alright, ultimately, you guys plan on turning the pool area into, which it looks like a park setting for the residents of.
Yeah, the building got infilled and covered back in the '70s sometime. We want to open that up, but the interior tenants have a view to the outside into this park area. That'll be a gated park, it won't be open to the public.
Okay, alright, Lisa, do you have any comments?
I'd like to postpone a decision till our next meeting.
Alright, any other comments?
What's the market rate right now, just for general, because some people that have never rented before, that might be in the audience, don't know what market rate is, so what roughly are you looking at right now?
You know, we actually have some other property owners in the area, in the room right now. What are the market rates right now, guys?
So my other question is, the owners of this property own Tulip Ridge Apartments, correct? And I'm gonna suppose, I'm making that comment for the general public. Is this a similar proposal in,
Yeah.
Clifford, actually, where are you, Clifford? You were at the last, Clifford was at the initial public hearing. And I told you that Tulip Ridge is quite similar to what's being proposed here. So if there's concerns with congestion and traffic flow, to pop over to Tulip Ridge and check it out, because it's a good example of what's intended to take place here.
Tulip Ridge has studios?
I don't know.
They do not.
I don't.
They do not.
Alright.
Here how many do they have?
alright, thank you. Yep, excuse, hold on, people, this is a public meeting. Mark, I appreciate the vigor, but let's keep it in order here. There is a motion to table this, because there's a motion, is there a second to table this?
Second?
There's a second to table that. We're gonna make a vote. We don't usually formally do this, but we're gonna do it for the sake of this. We're gonna extend it. I think there's to extend the public hearing to the next one. And like I said, we don't usually do it, but because of the sake of this, we're gonna formally make a vote to keep the public hearing open. Paula, if you could do the roll call.
Counselor Jones, sorry. Aye. Wasn't right. Counselor Paul. Yes. Counselor Cicerelli.
Yes.
Counselor Carpenter.
Yes.
Supervisor Farrell.
Yes, so we're gonna keep this, no determination on the zone change is going to take place today. We are extending this public hearing. Our next board meeting is August 25th. August 25th, it'll be the first item on the agenda. The reasoning for that is twofold. A lot of the comments we appreciate. We want to consider the comments. We want to make a decision that I think takes in consideration some of the comments, but also will serve moving the property away from its current position into a better position. It doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to do any zone change at all. I don't want that to be inclined, but I think more thought is what you're looking for, Paul or Lisa. What I'm also going to suggest is this, like you said, if you could have conversations, and you can do that right outside the back hall. Have conversations with the engineer, the architect, if you have those. Have a little bit more pointed questions and questions that may be more specific to the project that they'll probably be better suited to answer than the town board. I don't want the town board's judgment to be clouded by the project itself. The town board needs to be considering the zoning for this property above all. But yeah, I'll do one question.
It's just a general question, not pertaining to this project.
Yep.
The agenda, is there an official time when the agenda comes out? Because it came out pretty close to this meeting, and it was really kind of too close.
So the agenda comes out the Friday before a board meeting. The reason for that is because our town clerk, every single department head, including our town engineer and our town attorney, do a tremendous amount of work to prepare the materials that are necessary before something makes the agenda. If we issued the agenda prior to Friday, there would be some significant issues making sure that they had all the material necessary for us to make it.
So I think it's in the town bylaws that it comes out earlier.
Nope, it's done. We actually have a town board policy that we approve in the organizational meeting every single year, and it is for the.
Okay, we'll just count on the 25th, and if that changes, let us know sometime.
It'll be on the agenda for the 25th. The agenda will be, like I said, the agenda will be published the Friday before that meeting.
Thank you.
All right?
I just quickly, anybody that's over on Melvin, Avery, Sherwood, all of you who spoke, you are residents of the, or constituents of the third ward, so I am taking all of your stuff into consideration heavily as well.
All right. You guys, yes, you can leave or you can stay for the rest of the meeting. I encourage you to stay for the rest of the meeting if you would like.